Hello and welcome to Connect, the weekly podcast for the California MBA featuring one-on-one interviews with movers and shakers in the mortgage industry. I'm Susan Milazzo, CEO of the California MBA, and I'm very happy that you could join us today. Before I get to today's guest, I'd like to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors for their incredible support this year. Now, our President's Council sponsors provide a significant amount of financial support to the California MBA, in large part to help us ensure that we can remain a strong advocate for the real estate finance industry in California before the California State Legislature and our regulators. So I want to thank our 2023 President's Council sponsors, and this year those companies are AmeriHome, Arch MI, Consolidated Analytics, Funding Shield, Guild Mortgage, Accelerate, Rocket Mortgage, and Western Alliance Bank. Thank you all so much for your support this year. And with that, I'd like to welcome today's guest, Chris King, Mr. Cooper. Chris, welcome.
Excited to be here, Susan. Thank you for the invite. It's always a pleasure to spend time with you.
So you've been a guest on Connect before. Thank you for joining us again. We were just chatting before we got started. I think it was just about a year ago this week that we had talked and recorded you on Connect. So lots has changed in the last year since we last met. What is top of mind for Mr. Cooper right now?
Yeah, well, before we start, Susan, I just want to first of all thank you and the California MBA for having me today. Like I'm saying this genuinely, it's humbling and inspiring to see the great work that you and the team do for advocacy, policy, education. I mean, you make an impact in the market every day, and we're grateful for that. So I always want to begin by saying thank you. For Mr. Cooper, I'm very humbled. I've been in the company for 11 years, and we're constantly trying to bring, change the industry and obviously help the industry thrive. So what does that mean? So I would say, as far as the last 12 months, kind of what we're looking forward to, I would say really 4 things. Number one, at the end of the day, our brand is important in the industry, so it's all about customer experience. So if you think about going out with a bold brand like Mr. Cooper, as we did back in 2018, the whole intent and the spirit, right, was to be the kind of the industry leading customer experience platform in the country. So we built a tremendous amount of proprietary technology in both origination and servicing. And the whole context, right, is can we raise the bar per se on both origination and servicing? And we recognize our competitors will do the same, but hopefully that just drives nothing but incredible engagement with consumers. So the end goal, right, is to help the customer have a home solution versus feeling like they have a mortgage loan. So, a key pillar for us is customer experience. I'd say second, Susan, is MSR liquidity. We all recognize the market is challenging, but, we also have to be inspired by the great leadership, whether it's Cooper, our great competitors in the industry, trying to help everyone navigate through this market. So for us, whether it's us or Mr. Cooper, what's good about it, we're all trying to provide MSR and liquidity solutions to the market. For Mr. Cooper, if you think about 2023 through the MSR channels we operate in, we'll provide over 150 billion of MSR liquidity to the market through our correspondent, our co-issue, and our bulk MSR channels. So whether it's Mr. Cooper or the great competitors that we compete against, it's really great to see the team work out there trying to help everyone navigate through this cycle. So we talked about customer experience, and next I think about is really customer solutions, right? At the end of the day, whether customers performing or non-performing, you got to be thinking about, the seat of the customer every day. So if you think about performance servicing, right, a customer who's current their mortgage, the world's going to look a lot different tomorrow than it does today. So these customers want to talk through chat, AI, other digital solutions. And so we're trying to be leading edge of all the ways in which the world's going to change. In addition, probably doesn't get talked about enough, Susan, but, as we think about the end of the COVID era policies, there's still a fair number of customers in this industry and in the mortgage business industry who's unfortunately not performing their mortgage. So whether it's Mr. Cooper or other servicing partners, we got to help these customers because, obviously a lot of them are supported by forbearance solutions, and those solutions are now limited as far as availability. So we got to keep doing what's right by the customer and helping homeowners all we can. And I would say the last leg here, if Mr. Cooper being a public company, and we set a stretch goal, a few years back to become $1 trillion servicer. And it's, highly likely that goal will be attained. And you don't do that without incredible team, incredible leadership, incredible partners, and the entire industry performing. So we're really proud of that accomplishment. We think it's, pretty cool to see that occurring. But we're not going to rest on our laurels there, right? We're going to continue to invest on the regulatory side, the process, and just continue to be the most sound operational platform out there across origination and servicing. So it's not many dull moments inside Mr. Cooper. We've got great competitors out there who kind of keep us honest every day, that hungry to getting better. So that gives you a little bit of guidance, I think, on just what's important for us for our strategic drivers.
Using technology to increase and improve that customer experience, I think, is really great strategy. I know that, lenders across the market are all looking to do the same. It certainly becomes an expectation of consumers these days, right?
That's exactly right. And I mean, you're trying to balance that. You've got let's just say the older generation like myself, who still likes to talk to people, and then you got the next generation who wants to do everything through chats, GP, and so forth. So it's going to be, you got to balance this cycle. But I genuinely believe the investors and services originators who make those investments, they're going to pay off, in spades as you think about this next cycle we go through. So it's honestly table stakes at this point, Susan, to stay at the top of your game.
I would agree. And I think, what solutions are you offering your clients to kind of navigate this cycle that we're all going through this year?
Yeah, listen, we are extremely mindful of that, the impact of this cycle on independent mortgage banks. And if you think about independent mortgage banks, they're the heartbeat of the mortgage industry, right? And so the way we think about it, we try to sit in their shoes and say, how can we help you maneuver through this cycle? So the way we think about it is, can we provide a wide breadth of liquidity solutions, right? How do we meet the customer where they want to be met? And we're fortunate to work with almost 1,000 clients. We buy MSR on a monthly basis. And so really what we do is we try to provide a robust solution suite. What does that mean? So we've obviously been a long-term corresponding investor. We try to be a robust buyer across Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie Mae assets, all up and down the credit spectrum. If you think about also, in addition to correspondent, the co-issue markets have really thrived over the last few years. And whether it's Cooper or other like investors, we partner greatly with Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, and Ginnie Mae to provide great solutions to make this execution a lot more efficient for sellers. So we're proud to be in the Fannie Mae servicing marketplace, the Freddie Mac exchange, agency direct, the Ginnie Mae co-issue. And so we see a lot of our what I'll call B2B, which we define to be our corresponding co-issue clients, who really want to be able to ebb and flow based upon how they want to run their business. So we're really proud to help them maneuver through this cycle. And then I would just say, lastly, for those entities who retain servicing for a period of time, if they get to certain challenges, whether it's cash flows or, they've kind of created all the value, we're typically are, if not the largest, amongst the largest bulk MSR buyers. So I would say first is a robust suite of liquidity solutions. And in addition, what we try to tell our clients about, we know that the days of, making 104, 105, loans are behind us for a little bit. That's okay, but we can keep making investments in the customer experience. So we look at like E-notes and RONs. We were the original servicers to accept that, original investors to accept those loans. We're working with a lot of our clients now to progress the adoption of that. And we know it's a lot of things going on legislatively, as you well know. To help with that, obviously, we need the origination and technology world to help with that space. But I just think if you think about the future state of customers and borrowers as they become more sophisticated in this country, that's going to, again, be imperative. So we're working hard to help more IMBs adopt, and RON capabilities. And I would just say, lastly, no matter where you are as far as size in this industry, you're thinking about affordable housing goals, and we spend a countless amount of time as a management team going, how can we help with affordability solutions in this industry? So, we work with our partners in Washington, D.C., our constituents across the states, and try to figure out how can we help drive more affordable solutions. So whether it's through pricing, through promotion, through products, we're working tirelessly. So I would say, in summary, Susan, from moving through the cycle, is liquidity solutions, helping people think about the future as far as investments like E-notes and RONs. And then we should always be thinking about affordable solutions, irregardless of the cycle. So those are examples of things we're doing at this part of the segment and helping people navigate through the market.
Sounds great. And we're doing our part to try to get Ron in California. One of these days I'm actually going to make that happen, but I continue to work on it this year. Not as of this recording, but we're working on it.
Let's just make sure we celebrate together when you do it, because we'll be there. We'll help you all along the way, all we can do.
Right. I know it'll be a big celebration across the market. I'm telling you that. How's the acquisition of Home Point Capital gone for the company?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I mean, one, we're super excited. I mean, if you think about it, that for people who are familiar, that transaction have been out there for a period of time. So if you think about the public records, I mean, by definition, it's an equity sale. We acquire the company, but it's substantially Susan an MSR transaction where we'll acquire and board a little bit north of 80 billion of MSR, and then we'll welcome 300,000 new customers into our platform. And so the way to think about it is, one, I think a transaction like that, it speaks to, certainly Mr. Cooper's capabilities on the M&A side. But to get a transaction like that done, it's a true partnership. And what I mean by that is, we got to work with all our constituents, mostly in the Washington, D.C., whether it's FHA, Fannie, Freddie, all our other partners that we work with to run our business. And to do a transaction that size, I mean, one, you have to be certainly well capitalized. You have to have tremendous capabilities. They have to trust that you're going to do the right thing by the customer. So it's a team effort to get to this point. We're very fortunate to be selected, and our job is to wow these 300,000 new customers with world-class service and experience, and other solutions that might help them in their day-to-day lives. So we couldn't be more excited.
That's exciting. That's sounds like an exciting time to have that new partnership.
Yeah, 100%.
So we look forward to welcoming you back to the Western Secondary Market Conference happening on the third week in August this year, back at the beautiful Monarch Beach Resort. You're going to be joining us for our Trends in Servicing panel. Can you give our listeners maybe a little preview as to what you might be covering in that session?
I think my first preview is I live in Dallas, so it's about 105 degrees today. So I'll have the Monarch in my head the rest of the day. So I'll have to kind of get that image out of my head. But, one, because the Monarch is so beautiful, you guys put together a world-class conference, right? But if you think about, the topic that that we're going to discuss, like on servicing values, if you think about it, whether it's retained, released, optimization of executions, honestly, as dynamic as this market is right now, Susan, you could almost host a weekly session on that. That's how dynamic MSR values are right now. So what is the definition of success of the panel, right? So we'll have great panelists on there. We'll walk through, the current state of MSR values. We'll provide guidance around Mr. Cooper and the markets for you on MSRs. What are the drivers of current state MSR values? What do you need to consider as you look at MSR values these days across Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, and whether or not you want to retain or release? And of course, a lot of people, relative to cash flow needs are trying to retain MSRs. We're very supportive of that. Clearly, we're a buyer, but we respect, if people want to retain, and we want to provide guidance, right? What do we think is on the horizon for MSR values if you retain across agency and government? What are the impacts on cash flows? What assumptions should we be thinking about? If we go into potential recessionary period, what should we be thinking about? And then, as you know, right now, you have to attribute a lot of value to the customer, right? Because at the end of the day, if you retain MSRs, you want the cash flow from that, but you're thinking, could I do the next loan for Susan? Could I cross-sell another product, right? So we want to help people think through all the components of service and value if you retain. And then obviously if you release, right? I mean, what are all the executions available to you? How do you optimize your economics, right? Clearly everybody, needs to make additional economics. So we want to help people understand what are the drivers and execution options. So we'll be well prepared, walk everyone through the cash flows, the assumptions. The Fed's going to certainly make an impact between now and then. So, that's always a hot topic. We've obviously seen some of the data that came out today and more data coming tomorrow that it's probably leading towards, additional Fed hikes. And what's the impact on that relative to CPR and default? So, generally time isn't our problem at these panels, right? We try to pack a lot of stuff into it. We want to make it impactful and certainly value for everyone who participates.
Well, the servicing panel is always very well attended at Secondary Market Conference, and I think that this year it's going to be even more so because just of the where we are on the market right now. And so thank you for Mr. Cooper's support. The company's also been a longtime supporter through membership through the California MBA, and just like to, and I kind of alluded to a little bit of the work that we do, but share with our listeners why you think it's important to support our advocacy efforts here in California.
Yeah, I mean, everyone knows the impact California has on the mortgage industry, the voice that the state has, and to be honest, I can't emphasize enough, Susan, the importance of what you, the California MBA, do. It's impeccable, and obviously you work in partnership with a lot of the great states, and we're all trying to do the same thing. I mean, at the end of the day, obtaining a mortgage in this country is still a bit of a challenge, right? You think about the complexity of a mortgage, fair lending, disclosures, affordability, privacy. I mean, we could go on and on. And who just can't respect the value that the California MBA does every day? I mean, you work tirelessly to provide solutions that ultimately puts, everyday homeowner in a better place, right? You're thinking about the end consumer and help put them in a better spot in this industry. So whether it's Mr. Cooper or anybody in the industry, you have a lot of gratitude of what the California MBA does and all the value that you bring to the market. And, we hope to be a small part of your success.
Well, we really appreciate the continued support from Mr. Cooper, not only, through membership and through the conference, but, Chris, I've been able to reach out to you on some of our legislative issues and get your feedback on servicing issues. And that's tremendously valuable to us. So thank you very much for your support for what we do on behalf of the industry.
Absolutely. We're so happy to provide any help we can provide.
Always a pleasure to have you on Connect, sir. And I will see you in a few weeks in beautiful Dana Point.
Awesome. Really thank you for the time today. Thank you for everybody making positive change in the industry. Let's keep getting through this cycle. Great leadership will get through it.
And thank you all for joining us on today's episode of Connect. To access any of our past episodes, you can follow us on our YouTube channel. We're also available on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. That's it for this week's edition of Connect, and we'll see you next time.